welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about my upcoming spine surgery, which is spine surgery number 3, and what has happened to this point that made me inevitably have to get my 3rd spinal fusion surgery, because let's be real here, no one ever has like 3 spinal fusion surgeries, but that's just my luck. So let's get into it. So as some of you know, I have a very rare bone disease called fibrous dysplasia, which is a really rare bone tumor disease. It is benign, meaning that it's not cancerous. It can turn into cancer, however, that is extremely rare. And I have this disease in my left leg, hip, and so technically left femur, hip, and knee. And I was diagnosed at age 10 after 3 years of limping. My parents kind of thought that I had just normal growing pains, and the limping persisted for about 3 years, and then by the time I was 10 I developed a permanent limp. So yeah, I'll get into that another day, but because that's a whole nother story by itself. But when I was diagnosed with fibrous dysplasia, I was also diagnosed with scoliosis. And that was because I had been limping for so long that it actually caused my spine to curve. And when I was 10, it wasn't bad yet. So they just told my parents, we'll keep an eye on it, maybe do some physical therapy so that it doesn't get bad. But honestly, that was the last time I really ever heard scoliosis. And I had the first leg surgery, my first fibrous dysplasia surgery, when I was 10. And then yeah, I didn't hear scoliosis. What are you doing? I didn't hear the word scoliosis for a long time. So fast track to when I was in high school, and I joined the swim team. I think I was a freshman in high school. I did swimming, I did bowling, I did water polo my first year. And towards the end of the year, I believe, I started to notice that my body was changing, and that it wasn't a normal change. So my right hip started to stick out a lot, and my shoulders were uneven. When I bent over, I actually had a hump on my back. You could tell by looking at me that something was obviously not quite right. And my mother, bless her heart, she did not know what was going on, but she used to say to me we need to work on your posture, we'll try to get you to even it out a little bit. And I just always felt whenever somebody would try to reposition me, it felt like somebody was telling me to walk like this, even though I normally walk like this, but somebody was telling me to walk like this. It was not something that I could just change, and I started to realize this as people kept telling me I needed to correct the way that I was standing. And I actually did some research online and found a picture of a younger female, probably around my age, who I think it was a clip art photo, and it showed her body, and then on the inside it showed her spine, and on the outside her body looked like mine. So her hip was protruding out a little bit, and her shoulders were uneven, but the spine was what freaked me out. So I was looking at this girl that from the outside looked just like me, and on the inside I'm looking at this spine that's super curved, and I began to freak out. And I got my mom to come and look at the picture, and I expressed my anxieties and my fears, and my mom also, when she saw that picture, she also got very scared, and she made the appointment with my back doctor, who actually was also the guy that did my first FD surgery. His name was Dr. Sarwak at Lurie Children's. I'm not sure if I should say that out loud, considering I had a lot of issues with this specific doctor. So yeah, my mom brought me to the doctor, and we found out that my curve was severe. The doctor said that there's no chance that, regular therapies like back brace therapy or physical therapy like that wasn't going to benefit me because my curve was too severe. So he said that he recommends surgery. Surgery is the only way to fix the curve. So I'm at this point not necessarily a stranger to surgery. However, I've never had spine surgery. I think by the time I finally saw the doctor, I believe a sophomore in high school, the beginning of my sophomore year, because I was in swimming when this all began. And my swimming team and my bowling team and my water polo team and all of my teammates, my coaches, they were all so wonderful during this time. Like, so wonderful. And I believe after I saw the doctor, we decided that surgery was what was best for me. And we started planning it. Major spine surgery at age 15 isn't necessarily ideal or fun, and spine surgery in general is really scary. I had to do a lot of preparing for the surgery. I had to do a whole bunch of lung tests, MRIs, CT scans, phone conferences. I needed to have blood donors, donate blood for me so that when I was in the emergency room and I needed a blood transfusion that they would have it available. I did so much during this time preparing for the surgery. At the same time, I don't remember exactly everything because this was in 2005. So this was 13 years ago, going on 14. So yeah, I did everything that I needed to do, and I had my first spinal fusion surgery shortly after that. The difference between my surgery and a normal surgery would be that my doctor only fused 4 levels, and he went through the side, so he did not go down my spine like a normal typical scoliosis surgery. Scoliosis correction surgery wasn't just up and down my entire spine. He went through my side. I woke up and had chest tube. I was in the ICU for a couple of days. I have actually a couple of really traumatic experiences that happened while I was in the hospital in the ICU that I have flashbacks of. For example, I'll tell you one. I was really in and out of consciousness when I was in the ICU, but I remember that my pain medication, my continuous pain medication, had actually, I had gone through all of it, and my IV bag needed to be changed that had my continuous drip of my pain medication, and my mom was paging the nurses saying, her continuous pain medication it's gone, the thing is beeping. And when you're in the ICU, you technically have a nurse who's supposed to stay in the room with you just in case you need any help, or a nurse that goes back and forth between rooms, between two patients. And I believe that there was a baby, or a younger, way younger than me, I want to say a little boy, in the room next to me that my nurse was, she was doing both of our care, and something emergency popped up or something where everybody was in his room taking care of him. And in the meantime, I just had major spine surgery, and my continuous pain medication is gone. And I immediately felt it. And I've never been in so much pain in my entire life, because when you have spine surgery, it hurts to cry, it hurts to breathe, it hurts to move. You have to literally, somebody comes in and assists you, it's just turning you, you know, and that alone is ridiculously painful. So I'm like hysterical, but in so much pain I can hardly breathe, and my mom is like, you guys need to get in here and get her medicine like right now. And like I do think I've been traumatized from that. I remember getting up for the first time after my spinal fusion surgeries and feeling like my body was going to fall apart into a million little pieces, like somebody was taking a puzzle that you put together, you know, as a family with little pieces, and then somebody stands it up and all the pieces just come like falling down to the ground. That is how I felt. And so after my first spinal fusion surgery, I woke up still crooked and in a significant amount of pain still. So what did that mean? For me, my hips were still uneven, my shoulders were still uneven. My doctor said, oh, you know, this usually happens and it'll get better as time progresses, but we'll get you a back brace and we'll do the back brace therapy. So I was actually fit for my plastic humongous back brace, I forgot what the exact name for it was, while I was still in the hospital after my first spinal fusion surgery, before I even went home. And we got that back brace back, and it was so crooked. And I mean, you could tell just by even looking at the back brace that I was still crooked. And like, we all kind of looked at each other like, something's not right here. But my doctor was like, no, you know, she needs to do physical therapy, and it'll get better with time, don't worry. Well, I can tell you that it never got better. I was stuck in a back brace for months, I think like over half of a year, before I was before my doctor even considered doing another surgery. And I just remember being really, 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 really disappointed, because I was already super self-conscious about my body, and like my doctor and all the nurses had kind of like built the surgery up to like, oh yeah, you're gonna, like, you know, your curve's gonna be better, you're gonna be straight. I used to have to do surveys about how I felt about my physical body, and I can tell you that I suffer from an eating disorder and from severe body image issues, and my scoliosis is a huge reason why. My body dysphoria was really bad. I was really confused, you know, why I had just put my body through all of this, like this torture, just for it to like look exactly the same. And I ended up having to get another surgery. And I remember going for my second surgery, and the day of my surgery, and my surgeon and his nurse, who was my favorite nurse at the time, his nurse gave me like a gift. They felt really bad.